listening to KCFB Ferguson, 89.5 The Wave, and this is Fear the Dead Air, with your host, JazzHandss.
When civilization ends, it ends fast.
That is right, you are listening to the one, the only Fear the Dead Air here on 89.5 The Wave. I'm your host, your friendly neighborhood DJ, JazzHandss, here to talk about last Sunday's pretty well. It's holding up. Look, I'll be brutally honest. Fear, when it first started, I had high hopes for it. At the end of the first season, I hated it. I thought it was a waste of time. They skipped over so much cool stuff. It's coming back. Especially in the B part of the season. The A part of the season was okay. It still had a lot of complaints. This B part, it was really, really good, honestly. Spoiler warnings are ahead. So, if you haven't seen the episode, if you know not what the episode is, which the episode is titled Pablo and Jessica for awesome reasons, then I suggest turn away because this has been your warning. So now let's just kind of dive right in. Okay, so like I was saying, Fear, it's really starting to kick it up. Granted, this was another slower episode for me at least. They had a lot of action in it. Like, my God, did they have a lot of action. But, you know, it still felt a lot slower than some of the other episodes that we've previously gotten. Character-wise, we had a lot of character development in this episode, and that's why I like these talking episodes quite a lot more. I love these talking episodes because we're able to kind of sit back, relax, and just we get to watch the characters grow. We don't always have to have action, which, like I said, you know, it was like I said, it was a slower episode with a little bit of action, but I don't mind the slower episodes per se. Two of the most big characters that I feel got a lot of character development in this entire episode was Strand and Madison. They faced stuff that they needed to face, and Alicia and Nick, they had a little bit of character development, but it was really on the part of, I feel, Madison and Strand, both of them, and I absolutely love these characters. Strand's, like, honestly one of my favorite characters, and his whole thing was, he said one of the best quotes I have ever heard on anything ever. That was an amazing quote. The one at the end where he was like, you wake up as somebody new, and I liked the me who I was. I like the old me, but you wake up as this new person after some tragedy event. And so I really, really like that. And I think that honestly bodes well for what these characters are going through in this world, both Walking Dead and in Fear. Strand's development, again, in this episode, you know, how he admitted that the hotel wasn't his home. How he was talking about and dealing with the death of his boyfriend, his husband, his significant other. You know, he was dealing with their death. And it's nice that that he was finally lightening up, because unfortunately, I hate to say it, Strand is kind of one of those characters that's a little bit snake in the grass. And he always will be. That's not saying that that's a bad thing, but it's his character. His character is kind of, I feel like he has this defensive wall that goes up around everybody, even before the apocalypse, that was very snake in the grass, very sly. And so the fact that we see him breaking down, we see him crying in this episode, we see him talking how this isn't home, I buried my home back when he passed away, that was home. So I thoroughly like that we're getting to this, and it's kind of breaking down the Strand badassness per se. That's something that I feel needed to happen with Strand, and I feel now as a character we can move forward a little bit and see maybe a little bit more emotion than just awesome Sly. Although, of course, there's nothing wrong with awesome Sly. I mean, I wish I could be as cool as Strand, but no, it was really good. Really, really good character development, and I like that. Another one, like I said, you know, Madison had some pretty good, strong character development. Not as much as Strand, I feel. Strand knocked it out of the park, but I feel, you know, Madison admitting to Alicia that, you know, she kind of let her grow up, you know, alone, that she wasn't there as much as she should have been, that she was always after her father died. which I don't know why for me, but I find it annoying when it's like, oh yeah, when Daddy died. It's just so weird. I don't know, you're a grown up. When her ex died, she kind of focused on Nick more because Nick was always lost. And, I do like that in this episode we get to see Nick and Alicia kind of not talk about bad about one another, but you see their perspectives where Nick was like, oh yeah, she was the golden child. She was the golden child. She was going to do no wrong, and I was the mess up. I was always the mess up, and I'm always going to be the mess up. On the flip side, we get to see Alicia like, well, I was always kind of alone. I was alone. My mom was dealing with Nick. And so you see the kind of animosity that the two have for each other in a certain way. They love each other to death, but they're siblings. Like, you're going to have a beef with your sibling at some point, and you're going to feel a certain way. And on the flip side, they're going to feel a certain way too. So I really like that they kind of touched on that subject. That was fun. But Madison's character development, where she, like I said, openly admitted, that she wasn't around as much. I like that. And now I feel that the two of them as characters, they can start moving forward, start moving past all this, and now we can actually get into some stronger development and get past this kind of animosity. Animosity's good for story, but when you have a survival situation like this, it's like you need to move it on. You need to get over some of that stuff that plagued you in the past, because that's what's going to kill you. And they also said a line. They also said a line that I was not too happy about. Not in the sense of, well, it's fear being fear. They messed up. No. Hear me out. It was when Madison said, oh, you'll never lose me, or I'll never lose you. Well, we're always going to be together. You don't do that in this world. You do not ever say to anybody, you'll never lose me. You'll never lose me. That is stamping you as, boom, I'm a target now. I'm going to die. Maybe not this season, maybe not next season, but the season after. At some point, I'm going to die, or the person that I'm saying it to is going to die. I'm sorry. It's stupid to say. Now, who do I think could possibly die? Unfortunately, the fact that they've been given so much character development to Alicia and how strong and independent she can be, I think that might be Madison. I think Madison might be the one that dies, and unfortunately, I think Madison's death might be the one thing that will drive Nick back and have him stay permanently with Alicia. And if she does die, it'd be kind of interesting to see, as the seasons go on, maybe they stay apart, maybe they keep them apart a lot more. And Nick eventually runs into Alicia, and they have a big moment. It's like, where's Mom? And it's like, she died a while ago. I think that could be a possible powerful scene, but that's still speculation. I don't know, but I think Madison's might be on the chopping block. Unfortunately, hate to say that. It seems like the characters that die a lot, at least in the beginnings, are the characters that are unwilling to change. Now, with Madison, too, we also got to see her negotiate with the wedding survivors. And I liked that. I liked that that they're trying to make it. And see, I said a hotel. Hotel's not a bad place if you can fortify it. Not a bad place to have like a little city. Homes. You already got rooms. You already got beds, so you don't have to make anything. You're gonna have a lot of room. And I mean, there's like 9 different buildings, I believe that they said, for it. So you have a lot of room to mess around in, a lot of room to grow. And so I really liked that she went to those people and negotiated. I liked that Madison kind of stepped up and took control, and now they're making a plan, and they clear out the hotel. So those are the 2 really big character developments that I really, really liked. Visually again, this episode was awesome. And I know I've been saying that quite a lot. I always really say that, the visuals are so good. But they are. It's fun to play with. I mean, 1 minute you're in the hotel and you're running through a tunnel in the hotel, or you're up on like the 9th floor, and there's a lot to play with in the hotel itself. And and then you go out one way, and there's the beach and the pier, and you have all that to play with, and it's visually stunning looking, and it's fun. And then you go on the other side, and it's like the city or the neighborhoods and stuff that's inside. There's a lot to play with and a lot to mess around with, and I really like this. I really like the exploration of one area and how much you can do in one area to make every episode still feel fresh and new, and not that you're stuck in the bar or not that you're in a hotel room. They're making it to where visually it's, interesting and stunning, and all those walkers walking on the dock was really cool. So again, visually beautiful. We're going to be taking a quick break, so stay tuned to 89.5 The Waves, Fear the Dead Air.
Fear the Dead Air is taking a little break. Don't worry, we'll be back. Like the dead rising, we are back. You are listening to Fear the Dead Air, only on 89.5 The Wave.
That is right, you're listening to Fear the Dead Air here on 89.5 The Wave. I'm your host, your friendly neighborhood DJ, JazzHandss, talking about last Sunday's pretty good Fear the Walking Dead. It's getting there. It's starting to become one of my favorites. I'm liking Madison. I'm liking Strand. I'm liking Alicia. I'm liking Nick. I'm liking where this series is going. So, talked a little bit about the character development within Strand and Madison. I feel that those two had a lot of character development in this episode, as well as the beautiful visuals in this episode. Not just blood and guts wise, but just scenery wise. I'm playing with like the pier and the hotel. I loved it. But let's just kind of dive right back in to my discussion. Now, I do like that we got to see Strand and Madison get out of that situation with the dinner rush walkers, let's call them, or the happy hour walkers, let's call them. They got to get out of this situation with the happy hour walkers. It was nice. Gotta say, like those two drunk, they did a lot more than I know sober people to do. So one thing though that I do, not complain, but I'm interested because you see in this world, at least in Fear, that they use the blood quite a lot to disguise themselves. You see Madison and Strand use it to disguise themselves. But in Walking Dead, they use definitely the blood, but they also use some of the entrails. They, wrap the spleen or the stomach around them, so they really smell like death. I feel that they should have the entrails on them. I don't know why the blood would disguise them as well as it does. So I kind of wish they would talk more about that, or at least go into it a little bit more in depth, because that's the only thing where I'm like, But it was nice to see that how they got out of that sticky situation. Now, I do want to talk about Nick, because Nick in this episode was pretty cool. Him apologizing to Alejandro, I felt, was kind of a step forward for him in a sense. I liked that. He fessed up and he took responsibility. However, what I didn't like was the scene that came after. Now, Chris Hardwick said it. I'm sure a lot of people caught it. I'm going to say it too. That is a total Breaking Bad reference. That was a total Breaking Bad reference. To the point where when the music started playing, when Nick was actually making the drugs, it kind of took me out of it. I was like, where's this? This seems so forced in this episode. It didn't really sit well with me. But I do like that Nick was like, from somebody that wants to get high, from a high standpoint, they don't care about how long it is. They just want to get quicker and quicker and quicker and quicker and quicker and feel that high quicker, and that's how you get addictions going. So I did kind of like that scene. But it still kind of felt forced and was a total Breaking Bad reference. I was waiting for one of them to say bitch. I was really waiting for Nick to yeah, let's do this, bitch. Come on, just throw it all in there. Why not? Speaking of Alejandro's bite. Now, I'm sure if you've watched or if you aren't aware, Alejandro was apparently bit by a walker and is immune. That's not saying that it's impossible. It's very well possible for somebody to get bit in this world and be totally immune. How likely is it? I don't know. I kind of have this sneaking suspicion that it's either somebody bit him or he thinks he was bit and it's something else entirely, but he also seems very manipulative. And I could see it be one of those things where he was bit and now he's using that as an advantage. So not only is his status as doctor important, but he's even more important because he's immune. Per se, he's immune. So I think that there's more to Alejandro that I think is there, that he's hiding. And from the clip from the next episode, I think, we're definitely going to start seeing that maybe he's more like Negan than we think. And I use Negan as, he is the pinnacle of bad guys right now in the Walking Dead world. He only had a couple of minutes scene, but, I mean, right now he's the pinnacle bad guy. He makes the governor look like nothing. So, but, I digress. We also got to see in this episode, that, Luciana's brother, was found, and dead. For me, this scene, I really didn't care too much about it. I kind of felt the only reason it was in there was to have her and Nick get together, which, let's face it, I saw that coming a mile away. I think everybody saw that coming a mile away. But you see that her brother died, or not you don't see, but you see that somebody said that they found him and her brother was dead. Again, the scene I don't care for. They really didn't give me a lot to work with. Let's say we don't know who the backstory was. We just know that he was important to Luciana. And Luciana, let's face it, as cool as she is, within these episodes, hasn't done quite a lot to really be like, let's just say she hasn't done a lot to make me root for her yet. And I know that sounds weird, and that's just my personal opinion, but for me, she hasn't done enough to have me root for her. But I'm still wanting more, and she still has this layer of mystery up around her. And it's like Alejandro said, she tests people, which is why I think the kiss at the end with her and Nick, I think that's a test. I think she's stringing them along, manipulating them. I think a lot of people in this town are manipulative. The people with power in this town are manipulative. But predictions for next episode, because it's a short one today, I know, but predictions, for next time for Fear. I'm not 100% sure where the series is going to go. It looks like Strand gets shot. It looks like Alejandro's worry for the cartel finding out that, this is not lasting as long. We're getting higher quicker, but it's not lasting as long. We know your trick. Give us, the real stuff. That could maybe come back to bite him in the butt. However, I have a sneaking suspicion that because we saw the little clip of the family trying to escape the civilization, that there's something going on that's a lot deeper and darker. And I think Alejandro and Luciana are right smack dab in the middle of it, and the cartel might actually look like the good guys in this. So, and I'm wanting to see. I'm excited to see the dynamics between the wedding survivors and our group. I'm excited to see the interactions with them, and I'm hoping that, because if not, it's going to drag on. But I'm really hoping that the stuff with what was her name? The woman that locked them in the woman that locked the wedding survivors in the actual ballroom. I forgot it, but I really hope that we don't get into this whole thing where one of them's like, I can never forgive you for what you did. I have to kill you, and tries to go after, and then they have to kill them, and then the wedding group gets kind of demolished and killed. I really actually hope we get a group of people legit working together in this world. And that's the one thing where I gotta say is kind of annoying about the series, that there should be more people running around as of this time. When Rick woke up, I understand they had their small little groups trying to survive, and then they kind of just evolved. But here, it's only been like, what, a month, 2 months, a couple weeks at most? So you should see some more people. You should see maybe a little bit more chaos. It shouldn't be as isolated, and people should be more willing to work with each other and less standoffish. at the beginning. That's pretty much all I can think of right now. Predictions, like I said, don't know where it's going, and I'm glad that I don't know where it's going. I think it's going to be fun, and I really like where it's going right now, and I hope it keeps it up. But thanks everybody for tuning in. Tune in same time, same place next week for more Fear the Dead Air here on 89.5 The Wave.